Hey guys, this is Tigers coming back to you with episode 41 of Minecraft New Adventures. And as usual, if you do hear something in the background, it is my fan because in the UK, as usual, it's not been warm today. It's not been like how it has for most of summer, where it's been you feel like you're getting roasted. And the funny thing is, I can basically compare it to imagine how a chicken feels when you decide to chuck it into the oven and roast it to get it nice and tasty. Just did not know what I was going with that. If anyone did see the Marvel Rivals stream yesterday, completing the Codex, the Queen Codex like thing, the event, basically we completed the summer special, I think beginning of the week, like last week. I think it was like last Saturday. It was last Saturday, and I probably will go back later and change the title to that. And basically last night, I was like 4 levels away on Saturday, which I was like, okay, I'm at like 20. I can get up to like 22 just before 23 tomorrow. It'll be like 4 games, I can do it tomorrow. Bear in mind, this was after 4 games, and I'd already been streaming for a little while, so instead of going for longer, I just like, you know what, I'll do this tomorrow. That way it's not as long, and it doesn't feel like I'm essentially pushing to complete something, and it feels a lot, and it's not. Either way, basically, I ended up streaming another day, which I overall did not mind. I was probably gonna end up streaming yesterday anyway, except it potentially would have ended up being Overwatch. Could have done Overwatch tonight and just moved Marvel Rivals to tomorrow, but not Marvel Rivals, Minecraft to tomorrow. But one, I want to see if there's going to be any updates to the store and all that lot, and basically, it's tomorrow will be the last stream of season 17 for Overwatch. So hopefully it's going to be interesting. I don't actually know, but I also did send the Marvel Rivals stream yesterday. It's like, oh, I should probably log on tomorrow morning just so the bamboo can actually grow. Because it's not like I'm using it for flooring. Time to jump in the pool and get wet or drenched. But basically, guys, for most of this last week, unintentionally being in my bath and belt. I don't know why every time I walk in here, like, granted, I do. Mobs come in and it's annoying. Could I just very easily just put a layer of glass or just put some fence gates along? Unfortunately, I don't want to because it's going to make it look ugly as anything. I also do need to go fishing. But guys, I think I've said it before now. I basically go through phases of loving Minecraft and playing it basically every day because I'm really in the mood, and I was starting a new world or going back to an old one and basically only playing that for a solid good while, and then switching to, oh, I'm really in the mood to play Ark. I basically said most of this yesterday, but quick to sum it up, at the minute Ark has been a brick. Single player wise, it's basically crashing a lot more than it should be. Do I know why? No. I'm presuming it's because I've got some Toothless. In between episodes, I'm lighting that place up because I don't see mobs walking in, I see them spawning in. Basically, what I will do in between episodes is hopefully, I'll have the ceiling done. See guys, the one problem is, during the day, this place is light as anything. Like, it does not look dark in here. But at night, it looks as pitch black as anything. Do I know why? I mean, one, there's a literal giant gap there, which I probably could chuck fence gates in. I don't want it because I like the open look, and why I could just, slightly build in a slight bit of a creaky, like, sort of thing, and just have a bit of a wooden thing there. The dragons don't have a way in and out, and I don't want to put a hole in the roof, so it's staying how it is. But in between episodes, what I will do is, because I don't have none on me, and I don't want to make none until I need to, so I do need to double check the recipe, I probably will just go and basically do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 just in the middle. Lanterns. And hope for God that lights it up. But today we are going to be trying to finish off the enchantment hole. Because we've got a good bit of the floor done. We did get the roof, these done. But for the roof, I do want to make slabs. There was a specific area which I wasn't 100% sure. Okay, so I might not need to. I will basically just dig all this up. Basically, guys, with new ventures at the minute, it's one of those cases where it's like, I start streaming, it's like, okay, what can we do today? Like, once I've done this, I probably will just go on an adventure for a couple episodes. Just because I'm at the point where it's like, what can I do? What can I do? Obviously, I 100% could just, like, build. Like, I could easily just build some stuff. At some point, I probably will make a few mini-games. The only problem is I typically don't have people to play mini-games with. So, it's a typical case of, well, Minecraft is Bedrock at least. Technically also Java, but Bedrock is a case of... Where's my shovel? It's a case where it doesn't really matter what console you're on. Like, guys, when, like, even though I'm on PlayStation, like, I'm on the PS5, it's just an equivalent on, you know, as if, like, because it's my Xbox account. And the reason it no longer matters with Bedrock is because I can't remember when, I think it was like 2020. Like, to me, it seems a lot longer than it actually was. But I think it was like 2020. I think it was like early 2020, maybe late 2020. But basically, before Minecraft Bedrock came to PlayStation, it was just Minecraft PS4. Because this was way back before, like, the PS5. I think the PS5, but at the most, probably would have been in the design stages, because I think that came out in like 2022. Or did that come out in 2021? I think that might have been 2021. I think. I don't know exactly when it came out. I know there was a good while before I got my hands on one, because at the time, guys, there was a literal 4 of us, and one mate who I've, like, all the people I speak to and the people I speak to on PlayStation in a minute, one, I've only known one of the persons for, like, less than a year. Just over a year at most. Like, what I want to turn around and say I've known for like 6-7 months, because, like, saying this year makes a lot more sense in my brain. But it's like, hold on, wait, no, there was a bunch of drama last year, and basically, guys, consider it as none of my business, so I'm not going to go into the full details. But back last year, there was 4 of us. And 2 of the people in the group were dating, they split, and it basically was the equivalent of unleashing hell. Before they had, parties were toxic and people getting told to piss off, F off, be a lot, and it was really a case of, do I really want to be in this party tonight? Me and one other person, the other person who was essentially getting, because me and someone else were essentially friendly fire, I'm not going to mention names, were essentially friendly fire, and when they split up, The one stopped joining as much. I've only recently started speaking to that person now. And from what me and this one person figured out is, because I was like, because some stuff went down a few weeks ago, like I mentioned, and which I think was the reason stream was delayed that day. If it was that day, I can't actually remember. And so I ended up speaking to this person, and it's like, okay, so last time I spoke to you, I didn't actually say this to her, but like, it's like, I was thinking, last time I spoke to this person, I wanted to tell them to, you know, every name under the sun, because it was only like a few weeks before like, it all went down. You were essentially saying the same to me for like basically, guys, both me and this one person were getting yelled at for dumb stuff, real stuff that really didn't matter. Do you know when essentially like, someone wins at you for essentially leaving the milk carton out, or like the bottle of milk out, or just random something on the side, when in reality, why, it's not that much of a problem. It was essentially the equivalent of that, but worse and for dumber stuff. Basically, one mate went to go and grab a drink. This one person was feeling like... We eventually found out the fact that this one person was starting to feel left out, because we were playing at the time things like Among Us, not Among Us, we were playing a couple of games. This one person was interested in playing the one, and we were just playing these couple of games. And... Which, guys, funny story comes from the fact that, like, not long after we had the conversation of this person was feeling left out, I literally joined the party one night, and I spent 2 hours basically not talking to anyone. One person came off because they had work next day, the other left to speak to other people, and then the one who actually had common decency to her and say, hey, I'm going to go speak to some other people. Like, yeah, sure, that's fine. At that point, it's like, why the hell did I join? But in all fairness, guys, I've gone through the point of when it comes to speaking to people on PlayStation of, so, are you an actual decent human being, or are you just going to be a dick at some point until... Because, guys, when I kid you not, this is a couple years ago, Lord Iridian is Scottish. So it's Scott. I've only been speaking to Scott for like a year at most. It's a few more blocks. I know at some point it's going to basically be a case of my diamond pickaxe is broke because of it, but it's actually just a few more blocks. But back a few years ago, me, Blue Ninja, this other person, basically this other person and Lord Iridian knew these other Scottish people, and we basically started speaking to them every so often. I don't think it was a complete thing where we were speaking every day. And we spoke to them once, and they, instead of basically going, hi, this is us, and like, this is blah blah blah, my name is blah 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 blah, instead of doing the common decency of basically saying who they were, being in mind up to this point, they had been complete cunts on GTA. This is going to be a nice little bit of story time, guys. So, they'd been cunts on GTA. Do I do pink? Yeah, I'm doing pink. Again, being cunts on GTA, so trust issues there. And so we end up, me, Blue Ninja, Lord Iridian, and this other person, who I'll just say P for example, because again, try not to name names and try not to go say too many people's names, and for the most part I'm just using gamer tags or like names I know, like Lord Iridian and Blue Ninja both have Twitch, and that's the names they use on Twitch. So in that case, I'm literally just using So, we spoke to him, and basically me and Blue Ninja never spoke to him. Now, I'm the type of person of, if I don't know someone, I'm a bit more nervous. A bit more, do I really want to speak? when I first met Lord Viridian, I always made sure I was never in a party by myself. Basically, just made sure I was never the last one in the party, and essentially a bunch of other stuff. Toothless, you're annoying. I'm hoping once I do put lights in it, because I plan to put, I will do it in between episodes. Even if I don't, I will definitely be doing this room, because I'm starting to get fed up, and I will definitely be going fishing in between episodes. And by fishing, I do mean sort of important innocent fishes in the ocean, because it is a lot more effective to get salmon. My entry's already pretty packed. So, we spoke to them, and basically because it was like not even a small group of them, we're like, oh, if you're not going to speak, then you may as well just F off. So both me and Blue Ninja did, because we were like, okay, fair enough. So, again, me and Blue Ninja did, and we both left the group chat, the PlayStation group thing. I got added back in. I was like, okay, this is just gonna be a back and forward of leaving, joining. I don't want to deal with this. I'll just stay and just ignore them. I was right. Blue Ninja left about 5-6 different times. Yeah, they then spent the whole time just chucking him, adding him back in. And to this day, I still kind of find it funny, but to this day, like, when I say no offense to Scottish people, I don't mean no offense. It's just in case of... yeah, I do like the fact that it comes in kind of nicely. Do I do a stony roof, or do I do a nice little... I don't know. See, part of me kind of wants to do a pink striped roof, but then it's like, but wasn't I gonna do... Oh, actually. Yes, I am gonna do this now. We'll leave corners. So... So, yeah, guys, that went down a few years ago. I realised the fact that I've never basically said what's essentially gone on between now and, like, 2021, 2020. But there was that drama a few years ago. Which thankfully that basically ended up clearing up itself up, guys. I've spoken to the same people since. I think it was like a following year, a decent bit of time between, and why I'd still say they did. They definitely weren't as much of a dick to me. See, part of me thinks that Dark Oak could look very much nice and mysterious, and I do have a good bit. But it's like, I've just used dark oak. Like, I've used a lot of dark. Granted, it was planks, but there was still the odd bit of wood. So I kind of want to not go too near. I also do need to spend time at the iron farm, and that is a note that I probably will end up doing tomorrow. Basically, guys, there's a bunch of, like, very much minor little things that I need to do. I got enough to make a few tools. But yeah, I've spoken to him since, and why I wouldn't say they're anywhere better, I'd say they were tolerable for a small period of time, wasn't too bad. Because, guys, apparently they never had a problem with me, it was... Oh yeah, a problem with Blue Ninja. But again, I don't, like, guys, I was never mates with any of them. They were just a case of, I was speaking to people who they were mates with. The one person I would try to speak to on the odd occasion, as far as I know, she is no longer friends with them. Or if she doesn't speak to them that much, but I do think pretty sure she's no longer is, because things went down there, I think last year. Basically, a group of mates of Lord Viridians basically decided to burn a load of bridges. And guys, I don't have a problem with banter and the odd bit of, like, because literally, half the stuff that happens on GTA when it comes to me and Lord Viridian is, oh look, there's a grenade, oh look, there's a sniper. Not kidding. We spend half the time trying to, trying to stay alive from the other one. Anytime I log on to the same servers, and it's like, oh, your arch enemies in there. Now, that's not because of a case we don't like each other, that's because of a case of we've both done dumb and stupid stuff just to eliminate the other. And, like, we've both acknowledged the fact that, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have. I might actually just look, like, see what stairs or, like, planks actually look like. Because I might do planks. Bread. Not going to last me that long, but it's better than nothing. Also, guys, as usual, I get the fun fact of, making sure, double checking my controller's battery and then double checking my phones, because as usual, yeah, one needs charging and one should have been charged. Okay, that's at least a bit more iron. At least enough to almost make 4 new tools. Well, 4 new pickaxes and hatchets. I probably will do something like cherry planks. Part of me's tempted to do something like cherry leaves. Me, look, good. You're awake. Now go back to sitting. Yeah, lava. Also, guys, I made a joke about the fact that since having this added on, I have an infinite lava source to Iridium. He's like, you do realize, in fact, you can just make lava farms anyway. It's like, yeah, but less slow. This is a literal infinite lava source at a minute's notice. Like, if I was smart, I would just keep this stuff, like, because of my iron farm, I would be, like, having, like, a shulker box just full of buckets. And just go. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So, yeah, guys, over the last few years, there's definitely... The definition of staying out of trouble over the last few years would not apply. Like, I've got into more than one dumb, stupid, like, thing. Also, guys, I technically might have, not in the case of exposed myself in the bad way, but, I was having a conversation with Driver Scott in Blue Ninja on Friday, while we were waiting for Essentially everyone else to turn up. Hear me out, guys. I have a plan. Because we were having a conversation, and I turned around and said, it's like, in mind doing finger quotes, what I'm about to say, it's like, you realise I didn't watch K-pop Demon Hunters? Like, I watched K-pop Demon Hunters for the plot. And I don't know I willingly said that again, but I was like, from a conversation we were having it. So guys, if I end up having another conversation along the lines of, did you actually only watch that movie? For like the plot, and it's like, I was kind of joking when I said that, guys. Kind of. Did I watch K-pop Demon Hunters for any other reason than it being a great movie? No, kind of. See, guys, K-pop Demon Hunters is a great movie, but there's also a bunch of stuff in there that I do really like. For instance, their Battle Gear suits are really cool, which is one reason I watched the movie. Also, I watched it to see Rumi go from being this talented, no self-doubt person to break down, to getting her self-confidence back and not tying it to any one particular thing. So yes, I did watch the... watch it because of that. But like, discussing that, I ended up like finding out the fact that Blue Noon's like, yeah, I watched it for the songs, and it's like a valid point. Because when I say I watched it for the plot with finger quotes, one, I think the plot was really good. K-pop idols who were demon hunters, hunting demons, really great, really fun. But, hear me out, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe are, you know, my age. Which, guys, to be fair, normally when they release stuff like this, it's normally like they're either older and they've been doing it for a few years, or they're younger and they're just starting their journey. No, they're full on 22 to 21 through to 24. Well, I need one more block and then one more block. So I need 2 more blocks, but 2 different blocks. But yeah, part of me did watch K-pop Demon Hunters for the actual plot of the movie. Part of me comes from watching it because you see someone like Rumi go through issues and deal with them on a daily basis, and not willingly wanting to let herself feel weak because she can't. But then you see people like Mira believing she doesn't deserve a family, and Zoe feeling like she's too chaotic for the world. And that's the reason I watched the movie. I'm gonna say it's oak, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. I was right. Right. But guys, to me personally, it was intriguing to find out the fact that they do have their own problems, but it was just a really interesting movie, and I will continue to hype it up to the limit until the second one comes out, which means then I'll then start hyping that one up if it's as good as the first, or until the second one comes out and just ruins the franchise for me. And guys, the reason I say that, Iron Man 1 was a good movie. Iron Man 2, yeah, still pretty decent. Iron Man 3 was Captain America Civil War was not including Sam Wilson Captain America, but like the best Steve Rogers Captain America film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I wanted... Personally, it's just because I didn't enjoy Volume 3 as much. I will need more. Basically, I'm doing this Polish pattern. I will probably try and get the enchantment room like fully built like next couple episodes, but somehow this is taking longer than I thought it would. Could I essentially just carry on doing the same pattern up here? I might, but like I kind of like the fact of it looking like it does. Thankfully, it's just the planks I need now and not the actual wood. Like, it's not the actual logs I need, it's planks, which means if I mine like 16 of these, like if I get 16 logs, that's like 2 stacks, which is thankfully. Also guys, when people say they watch a movie for the plot, typically it does mean something that I'm not going to repeat. And that's kind of half the reason I watched K-pop Demon Hunters, because I will say now, their Battle Gear uniforms was like, See guys, after seeing them in their Battle Gear uniforms, like the leather outfits, if I ever did question my sexuality, I definitely didn't after that. Because it went from being like, okay, these girls are pretty cute, to, oh my god, I wish they were real. And guys, I would love to meet the voice actors behind the roles, because they've done a few interviews and it's just like, hold on, you're telling me this is the talented person who's done Mirror, done Rumi, done Zoe, and it's like, damn. Also guys, I will say now, it is nice seeing the fact of Sony can still produce good movies, because I kid you not, I think the first couple times I basically went past the first part of the advertisement where it was like, because I knew it was done by Netflix, so I was just like, yeah, I don't need to see the fact of Netflix again. This movie's produced by Netflix, it's on Netflix, it makes sense. No, I mean, not completely. There are, like, The Race to the Edge is, I don't think, done by Netflix. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know who was the producer on that. Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. Netflix didn't produce them, but they've essentially on there. But it was like really cool to see the talent essentially behind, because guys, I think I've mentioned this more than once. My favourite show as a kid was Ben 10. I grew up watching Ben 10 Classic. I found out years later that the voice actor behind it, Tara Strong is I think her name, was the voice of Classic Ben. And I was like, what now? And just basically my reaction anytime I find out sorry about that. Anytime I find out that a woman is essentially voiced a male character, and it's like, wait, hold on. Because I'm shocked, surprised, and intrigued the fact of all at once, because why voice actors, like, I personally have a problem if a woman wants to voice act, like, be the voice of a male character and vice versa. I couldn't care. Because I've been proven more than once. But guys, the whole reason I didn't know is because as a kid, I wasn't like... Guys, I was born in 2003. I didn't get my first touchscreen phone that I could use and take with me and use on a daily basis until my 3rd year of high school. I was 12 by the time I got my first. Granted, I had a phone beforehand, but it was the equivalent of a flip phone. It was literally just a small little phone that all you could do on it was ring. Is this pattern going to get repetitive at some point? Probably. Would it be a lot easier if the floor was down? Yes. I'd honestly thought I'd done the full thing. I was wrong. But, like, the reason I'd never knew, and I think I found out... Two. There's still the 3 that connect. Yeah, okay. It looks weird to me, but from looking at, like, the other corner, it looks perfectly fine. But then I find out, like, this was actually years later, that Yuri Lowenthal, the voice of Spider-Man for the PlayStation games, like PS4, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2, was also the voice of Teenage Ben. And I went from being like, huh, to, you telling me this dude was my childhood? Because guys, I grew up watching Classic. I then fell in love with the series because of Alien Force. Was Alien Force the pitch perfect season as much? Like, did Alien Force's 3 seasons compared to was as good as all 4 seasons of Classic? No. All 4 seasons of Classic weren't all pitch perfect seasons. There was the odd rocky episode, but they were overall pretty decent. Classic's only sort of downfall was because I think it was the producers or the writers. Basically, an executive decision, basically like, we want to make Ben more of a jerk, and it's like, hold on. Because if they kept up the same path that they did, having 15-year-old Ben basically start learning from his actions, because he'd literally just learned the lesson at the end of Season 2 of Alien Force, that he can't do it alone. See guys, I do not want to put... But I'm going to have to put lights in it, and I will more likely end up doing it straight after stream. Straight. See guys, it doesn't bug me until I'm streaming, because I don't check them until I'm streaming, because at the minute, at the minute I'm basically not doing odd jobs, and like a lot of the odd jobs I'm doing are essentially while I'm streaming. But it is getting annoying, the fact of it's like, yeah, we're just going to spawn in here. Guys, to sit them down, that should not have taken as long as it did. It should be a simple, quick, simple button press. Why is it the 2 dragons in the actual, Toothless is normally for the most part well behaved. Bath and Belch, yeah, okay, they're a bit more of a menace. Hookfang is typically a bit more dependent on Snotline. Meatbug and Stormfly and like Toothless are normally I don't have none on me, so sorry, Meatbug. Normally the more chill and more sort of with the reasonable ones. But yet, only Stormfly is proven to be reasonable, and Hugfang's proven to be good. And by good, I mean not being a pain. But yeah, like, I did not know until I was older that Tara Strong was the voice of my childhood hero. That Yuri Lowenthal was then the voice of my hero as the voice of as you know, the adult version, the teenage version of Ben. Although, guys, I stand by this. I reckon Yuri Lowenthal could play. I don't necessarily think teenage Ben, but I do think, you know, a sort of older Ben, like 2030s Ben, like live action wise. I do think he probably could. Also, guys, the reason why as a kid that I never tweaked onto the fact of 15-year-old Ben sounding different compared to, you know, 10-year-old Ben. So I don't even know whether Yuri Tara Strong voices classic 11-year-old Ben in Omniverse, because they brought that back for that. And yes, I do know a lot about Ben 10. I was an obsessed kid with it, so all this stuff has stayed with me, you know, a decade later. Although, guys, if you like something, it doesn't, it's like, obviously what I'm about to say gets to a certain point where it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't. But if there's like a show you liked as a kid and you still like it now, watch it. Guys, I watched the odd episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX as a kid. I didn't get to complete that or any of the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series until I was older. When I first got into watching Yu-Gi-Oh!, the only series at the time I had complete was like Duel Monsters. Duel Monsters, like GX onwards, I basically knew nothing. And the only reason I know to this day that I saw the odd GX episode is because I remember Jaden and I remember Slice of Red Jackets. Literally the only reason. I also weirdly remember Chumley. So, although even though I grew up watching the odd episode of GX and didn't complete until years later, and Duel Monsters was the first one I did complete, 5Ds is my favourite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Why? I love Synchro Summoning. I think after that I probably will just cut down some more. But yeah, guys, I love the art of Synchro Summoning. To me, it's really cool. It was the first new summoning method that wasn't just straight off what Duel Monsters was doing. Like, GX was always that series that was meant to be a continuation, but what are these characters, what is the, you know, happening in Yu-Gi-Oh! Years later? Like, how is Atem, how is Seto Kaiba? And it's like, Atem is potentially still dueling, we don't know. He's probably opened up the his own card shop. Seto Kaiba opens up a duel school. And I quote this from him himself, for the most part. I don't know how accurate it's actually going to be. Let's send cards to space so we can teach them to duel. Because, I quote, he decided to send, I think he decided to send a bunch of cards to space. I don't actually remember. But yeah, guys, there was a bunch of shows that, as a kid, I never got to complete. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was one. As a kid, I never saw. I saw all of Classic and all of Alien Force of Ben 10, but I never completely saw all of Ultimate Alien. To this day, I've never seen 100. I've never seen beginning to end of Omniverse. At some point, I'd like to change that. Transformers Beast Machines, which is debatable, was something I saw when I was a kid. I've still never completely seen that. I think it was last year. Up until that last year, I had never seen all of the Energon trilogy. Just because up until like a couple of years ago, I hadn't seen Armada, because it's like, I guess it's probably the best, but I don't need to. No, up until last year I hadn't seen Armada. Up until a few years ago I hadn't seen Energon. Don't ask me why. My natural thought was, I'll go rewatch Energon. And that's probably the best I can do. Plus I do need more. But yeah, like, I decided to go and actually watch Energon instead of watching Armada first. I don't actually know why. I do overall think Energon is the weak. Like, Cybertron, I'd say, it's a trilogy. Armada was great, and then Energon was sort of I don't want to say the annoying younger brother, but sort of the middle child that you kind of forget exists half the time. To be polite about it. And guys, people might laugh and joke when I compare it to essentially a child getting, forgotten about. I've more than once seen a case of. I've seen a bunch of skits at this point. Some of it's got to come from some truths about the fact of middle kids just being like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "I'm your middle child." But again, it's all like skits are all like for a case of laughs, jokes, fun. Like, none of it's supposed to be taken seriously, and it really shouldn't be. But the point is, it's like that one thing it's one thing you kind of forget exists. I almost want to compare it to, I think it's Marmite, that you either hate or love. Which I've never got. Like, to me, I don't like Marmite, but I don't, hate it. But I think it's more of a case of, if you, you either like Marmite or you don't, sort of thing, instead of, hate, which, in that case, yeah, I don't like Marmite. Guys, I'm not a stupidly picky eater, but, there's a bunch of foods that I, won't eat. Like, I'm annoying when it comes to eating, vegetables, because while I will eat them, there are certain times where it's like, do I really want to eat these carrots? But yeah, if you like something, and if you liked the show as a kid, and, you still like it now, carry on watching it. I've more than once gone back and rewatched shows that I saw as a kid. There were shows I wish I had seen as a kid. I could have seen as a kid, because they were out when I was a kid. No, I didn't get to see them until I was older. But there is also a bunch of shows that I've seen now that I don't hate, I don't love. But I know for a fact that they probably would have been a reason why I would have stopped watching some shows. Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. Is that Bart from Belcher's Tale? I knew it. That place gets lit up after this. Guys, can I technically skip the night? Yes. You stupid dragon. calm down. This is not Overwatch. My blood pressure should not be getting raised to the point of why the hell does my blood pressure exist? You get a fish. Like, guys, one positive to it. I get a bunch of XP. Again, that took far too long. I built the Dragon Stables because I liked having the Dragon Stables. Overall, I love this place. It's nice, it's great, and it's one of my better builds. Which, in all fairness, I don't know whether saying this is one of my better builds when for the most part it's just an empty giant warehouse sort of thing is either a good thing or a bad thing. But like, I think the roof looked really cool. I've never thought of doing a combining like stairs and then actual blocks together to make this sort of off slope sort of pattern design, which really works. It allows this to still look nice and cool, this to then still be kind of functional, but then it's to still carry on and look normal and not just look like one giant thing. It allows it to be split up and look nice. I still have another stack. Is that too much? Probably. But in all fairness, guys, I'm hoping to have the roof done by the time I don't want to say I'm not in the stream until I get the roof done. Would I have kept the lava that was in here if I could have? Probably. But it had to be removed at some point. So no, there is no more gaps where... Guys, I don't know how, but this thing is turned into a stressful thing. Granted, I know part of it's because the floor's not done, and I'm going to try and complete some more of it. See, annoyingly, I don't know how I ended up like this. But annoyingly, I've ended up with this really annoying pattern. And I don't mean annoying pattern as the roof looks ugly now, I mean... help if I actually use the right block. See guys, that looks all nice and a nice little combination of both. Because why I could have done that, I think it wouldn't have looked as nice. And why I probably could, like, granted I probably could just take those down, use these, but I like how it looks. I like how the fact of between 4 different types of wood, you have like a really unique design. And I love when I can turn around and say, yeah, my build looks unique. It doesn't just look like some random blob. But I am happy how the fact that this has turned out. Right, time to go and harvest whatever bamboo I have, which is a nice little bit. I could probably do with just making a bamboo farm, but part of me doesn't want to. Guys, in all fairness, if I could, what I would actually do is I would basically put them all on a bunch of hoppers, but they need grass, so I think the best I could probably do is put hoppers underneath the grass. But it wouldn't work as well as this. But on the other hand, what I probably could do is just find a giant open area. Bing, 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 bing. I've got a couple spaces. But again, I don't want to just go and like chuck a load of this in, because I know at some point it'll be like, well, I could really... Oh, okay, now I know I can build this. Can I 100% say, in 20 episodes time, that this village is going, like, the village is still going to be the village? Like, those houses up there, up there, up there, will they still be there at some point in the future? I'd like to say yes, but I honestly know at some point I'll probably get to a point where I say, I need the area, I want to build something bigger. Also, guys, anyone wondering why I have essentially talked about... Again, I try and say this every time. This will be the last stream I talk about it. It probably never will. Eventually, I'll get past the... I will personally get past the case of, oh my god, best movie ever sort of thing. But basically... A, it's not the type of music I would normally listen to. Come later then, come further inspection, and it's like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. There's a few Blackpink songs I think are kind of cool. Have kind of a nice little beat to them. I think it's I Am and Da Da Da, like D-U-D-U-D-U. I think that's like the songs that are kind of cool and kind of catchy. But one, K-pop music's not my typical thing. Yes, I would typically watch a show about demon hunters. I don't actually watch... or a movie. I don't actually watch Demon Slayer. I've never seen Demon Slayer. But like shows about monsters, yeah, depend on the show, depend on the movie. I probably would. I'd at least probably check it out. The reason I've never seen Demon Slayer is this. Honestly, I don't know why. A few years ago, back when I did get well, there was that before Crunchyroll that then eventually ended up becoming... I would say before Crunchyroll. That I think was either before Crunchyroll or at the same time as Crunchyroll. But Crunchyroll basically ended up becoming the same thing. Which meant I just cancelled one subscription from one and then basically changed that subscription to another. And at the time, the only anime I was watching on there was High School DxD. And guys, I rewatch that 3 or 4 times a year. It's usually once every 2-3 months. Granted, it's been a few months since I've seen it, so I might rewatch it again within the next month. But like, it's not something I rewatch on a weekly basis. I then started Blue Ninja then got me into My Hero Academy, and I went from being okay to, oh my god, this is so cool. And then I got into My Dress Up Darling. And then I've recently seen My Hero Vigilante. Although, guys, I will say now, at the time when I first saw My Hero Vigilante and started rewatching My Hero Academy, now I was on the mindset of, okay, Vigilante might be slightly better than My Hero Academy. I no longer think that was creepier than anything. Literally 2 heads just poking through the wall and not completely. Yeah, that was just slightly creepy. I'm gonna presume they've all despawned. It doesn't really matter. I had enough to replant. I'm just gonna double check. And I was right. Well, good news. Okay. Good news. My phone managed to rise through stream. Basically. And let's just control it is fully charged. Bad news, if I hadn't just checked my phone, it would have gone down to 15%. And how do I know my phone would have gone down to, not 15, 5%? Because my phone warns me when it's on, like, I don't know if it's just Samsung thing, because years ago, I think this might have been before I started doing YouTube, but years ago, I basically had to, I had an iPod, I don't know why, I really wanted an iPod Touch. I don't know why. Basically, I won a bet with a family member, and they agreed to get me. And I still have the iPod Touch in question to this day, but I don't know why I really wanted one. To this day, I honestly couldn't tell you. Is it going to make it slightly more darker? Yep. But again, I plan to go and basically go lantern, 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 and then lantern, lantern. There'll be like 8 lanterns in here, which should hopefully light the place up. I'm going to try and get the full finish next episode. Just because this is starting to get annoying. I'll also try and light that place up between episodes. Light this up between episodes. But yeah, guys, when K-Pop Demon Hunters 2 does come out, because it's been confirmed at this point. And to be fair, we all know, it hadn't been confirmed, but we all did know, there's no way a film goes to doing that good and becoming number 1, because Golden did, and not get a sequel. Golden had become number 1 after a sequel had been announced, but basically it became number 1 on like all charts, which is impressive. Now, at the time, I didn't know how impressive until I saw a video, and it's like, oh damn, it's that impressive, because it's number 1 across like all platforms, across everything. Like, essentially, if you can listen to a song or something, it's included in that case of a category that needs to be number 1 on. And right now, I think it was earlier still number 1 in UK Netflix, like, watched. I think, in global, we're in the top, I think it's like number 2, number 3. Last time I checked. Which I think was like last week. To be fair, guys, I stand down by this. This was worth it, considering what we had, like 3-4 chickens when I first built this pen. Pigs, I can probably do getting a few more, but I don't have no carrots on me. Cows are going to be another thing, and sheep are going to be another thing. See, next episode, I can probably successfully say, as long as I do actually let this lot grow in between episodes, harvest a bit of it between episodes, I'll probably try and do a bunch of it Wednesday, potentially tomorrow, but it probably will be Wednesday. By basically just, harvesting a bunch of it, go out and about that, and I might make the tent in between episodes, I don't know, but I'm 100% chucking a gate onto that thing. Because I checked one on here, and granted I've not seen a villager try to sleep into that bed since. Actually, before I end stream, I've not seen no villagers in a while. Oh, that's fine. I'm not going to just go and be like, yeah, that's fine, there's still one here. If I see like 2 or 3, then I'll be like, yeah, that's fine. I've also not checked on the snow golems. Oh my god, what happened to the snow golems? Like, guys, I've not cleared the snow off the floor. Like, all serious, guys, what did happen? Like, when did the... I'm assuming a village opened the door and they've gone out. Okay, there's a couple of villages up here. Like, plot twist of a century, where the hell are my snow golems? I think one of those... I think one of those beds were mine. Just because how awkward they play, but it's like, no. Wow, I did really loot this village. It's not a desert, so they wouldn't melt. Because if it was a desert, it wouldn't matter what block they were on. And guys, I know that for the simple reason of, in Quest, my house is built in a desert. Over time, I have basically changed a lot of the area around my house to grass. Because it looks a lot more nicer. Okay, still a load of villagers. I had nothing to worry about. Except my snow golems. Their pumpkins are literally on the roof of my house. Like, this was a house. I might get new ones. Like, we might sound insensitive, but guys, like, I built it for them. Like, my first thought is, if someone had access to the world, but it's like, hold on. I would have known because it's not on a realm, which means you can only join when I'm on, and for the last few weeks, I've only been on my streaming, which means it would have been a notification, which instantly would have been, I would have been like, right, okay guys, change the title for today, and I'll change it later, because I can't change it now, because I can't change the title of stream there and then, I have to do it later, otherwise it ends stream the way, unless I can do it via studios, which I'm not 100% sure. So I would have seen if someone popped on. Because, again, not on a realm, so no random people can just randomly pop on when I'm not on. That's weird as anything. All I can presume is... one of the villagers opened the door, and one or two things happened. They come over there, got wet. If they fell down that, they would have died. Fell down that, they probably would have died. Weirdly enough, this is the bigger pit. Saying that, there was a villager somewhere around there. Wandered into the water, or they've wandered off somewhere. I might end up replacing them just because... Excuse me? I think we found the culprit. So... make a mental note, which I will forget away. So if we do replace the snow golems, first thing I've then got to do, put gates on the front. Or make them iron doors. Which iron doors would look a lot less weird. But gates, see, the reason I don't like the fact that I've had to do this. But I was getting annoyed of villagers coming in and out of my house. Now, do I use it as a house? No, it's basically just a giant storage box. I, for the most part, do literally sleep in that bed. Don't ask me why. The original plan was to sleep out there for a few nights, build the house, would have been fine. But those few days turned into a good while, which meant this wasn't ready to live in for a nice little while. I think it was like 20 episodes. This wasn't like, I couldn't, like, technically, like, wasn't fully built. Which is probably like a longest record for a house taken to build. 100 days. So what did you do in your 100-day series? Yeah, kill the Enderman, kill the Wither, kill the other Guardians, slayed everything in the game that was needed to say. What did you do? Build a house. As in day one? No, as in build a house. Oh. But before I do start yapping for any longer, the sun's starting to come down. But guys, hope you have enjoyed. I have no idea where the snow golems are gone. The only thing I can think of is there is water that's kind of very easy. Like, there's water, like, I think they could probably access that water. I'm presuming what's happened, and, like, there was water there. I'm presuming what happened was the sun's melted the snow, they've walked onto it, or they've walked at render distance, because, technically speaking, it wouldn't be hard. So I'm presuming I might have just gone at a render distance, because they weren't named. So I'm presuming it might be because of that. I have no idea. Drop a couple names down for like new snow golem names, and I will sort getting them sorted. Because you never know, they might return. But either way, guys, this is Tiger signing off. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll be back tomorrow with Overwatch for the last stream for season 17, and I will basically give all my notes and all I got on the season 17 overall tomorrow, and I will basically then in the stream after that for Overwatch say what I love about the new Mythic, because at this time of streaming, if I see it beforehand, then I'll do it in tomorrow's video, but I don't actually know what it's going to look like yet. I might try and look it up tomorrow, or like between now and tomorrow. But either way, guys, this is Tiger signing off. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.